Hello my chickens. In this video we are going to talk about how you can finally stop making stupid mistakes on your SAT and your ACT. I'm Kat Severson, the inventor of the Severson method, a scientifically proven way to learn anything fast, including the SAT and the ACT. If you're watching this video, chances are that you have recently taken a practice SAT or maybe a practice ACT, or perhaps you've taken the real test and now you're looking at your score and you're not happy. Better yet, maybe you're looking at your QAS. QAS is a service for SAT and TIR is a service for ACT. If you don't know what these things are, I'll definitely put an article below this video explaining to you, and just do yourself a favor. Order your QAS and a TIR if you can. And let's say you're looking at one of your tests and you're noticing that you've made so many dumb, stupid errors. How can you fix them? Because it's so upsetting that you keep working on your skills, you develop knowledge in trigonometry, in grammar, and punctuation, and then you end up making these silly, dumb, stupid errors. And I actually have many examples of my students who are usually very high performing and very high achieving in their high school. So for example, I have a student who had a 4.0 in high school. Very rigorous curriculum was in her high school. And she came in, she took a practice ACT, and she didn't do very well. And the reason we know that she didn't do very well is because every time you make a mistake, I put a tab on that page. I think that's just very helpful, and if you guys are taking your practice test, I highly recommend that you do that as well. These tabs are really inexpensive if you buy them. Sorry. These tabs are really inexpensive if you buy them from places like wish.com, if you buy them on eBay. I think this was maybe 50 cents. Very inexpensive. And the way I use it is whenever I see the question and then I put a tab next to it. So this was one ACT and you could tell there were a lot of errors, and you can color code for sections, and then maybe you wanted to look for stupid errors and then you can just put tabs next to these. And after we've talked about what I'm about to teach you, this is her test. Do you see the difference? And that. So you're about to learn something really magical. And I taught her two main rules. First is I taught her to consider every answer choice. You know how either SAT or ACT, for the most part, they're multiple choice. And the reason I say for the most part is that we have a few questions on the math section for the SAT that are grid-ins, and everything else is multiple choice. What does that mean? If you're looking at 4 answer choices, that means one of the answer choices is 100% correct and 3 are 100% incorrect. The best thing about the design is that the answer choice that's correct is right in front of your eyes. But what untrained test takers do and end up making stupid errors is they read the question, they immediately think of the answer, oh, okay, that might work, and then they look for A, B, C, D. They look for something that they think is correct, and let's say they think, oh, there should be a semicolon here, and they find the answer choice that has a semicolon in it, they pick B, and they move on to the next question. I don't blame you. The test is very ruthlessly timed. You're under a lot of time pressure, but if you considered all 4 answer choices, then you would have seen that D also has a semicolon, therefore both answer choices are appropriate. Then you would have started to think, and that's what I teach all of my students to start thinking, when you see that there are 2 answer choices that quote unquote could work, don't start looking for the answer that's better, because neither the SAT or the ACT is going to reward you for choosing the better answer. No, you need to look for what you've missed. So when you're seeing 2 answer choices that could work, you have to immediately think, what am I missing? Did I misread the question? Did I misread the passage? What's going on here? So that will help you get rid of so many dumb mistakes where you prematurely commit to an answer choice without considering all 4 answer choices. This applies to all 4 sections. It applies to grammar, it applies to math, science, it applies to reading, to all of your SAT tests. Let me actually show you a vivid example of this. So we don't have to go far. All right, so this is from test A09 from the ACT, and this is question number 34. So my student here, she made a mistake because she thought that 34 was figure-sighted. And this was, I'm assuming this was her train of thought. For decades, the fraction cited in scientific literature has been that only one person per 10,000 has absolute pitch. All right, well, fraction cited kind of sounds good because you can be citing a fraction of the people that have perfect pitch. Sure, that works. She has not considered all of the answer choices. Look at all of the answer choices. Numerical cited, figure cited, and then digit cited. If she were to consider all 4 of the answer choices, she would have thought to herself, figure cited also kind of works. And then she would have asked herself a question: what's a more common expression? Is it fraction cited or is it figure cited? She would have definitely answered figure cited, and therefore she wouldn't have missed a point in this question. Another quick example I want to show you guys is from earlier in this grammar section, where it's question number 27 if you have it. Which of the following alternatives to the underlined portion would not be acceptable? And my student chose D, and the right answer was C. What she did is she actually didn't pay a lot of attention to the question, and she looked at the text and she thought to herself, okay, 2 independent clauses, I can connect 2 independent clauses with a period and start the new sentence with a capital letter, no problem. D works, and then she moved on to the next question. This is how dumb mistakes happen. If you don't consider all of the answer choices, you're missing an opportunity to think like the test creator. You're missing the opportunity to kind of look at the question with the eyes of the College Board, because they have to give you 1 indisputably correct answer choice, and they have to give you 3 answer choices that are 100% incorrect. This actually happened to me back in March when I was taking the SAT on March 9th. I remember it was at the end of the first fiction passage, and I think I was solving question number 10. Let me look it up real quick. I'm going to log into my College Board account. So for that, I'm going to have to zoom you guys out. So now we're back, and if you've taken the March 9th SAT alongside with me, and if you have your QAS, great. So this example would make a lot of sense. And even if you haven't taken the exam, and if you don't know, don't worry, this example will make a lot of sense. So the question is asking you about a specific quote. It's a couple of italicized sentences from line 73 to 74, and you're given 4 answer choices. So here's what the question looks like. In the context of the passage as a whole, the italicized sentences mainly serve to, well, first and foremost, as trained test takers, we know that mainly should be crossed out, because mainly, the word mainly is kind of prompting us to use our own judgment, and we should never, ever, ever, ever be using our own judgment. If you haven't seen the how to read for the SAT video, I'll definitely link that below, but you probably remember that we are not allowed to be using our own judgment, no matter how SAT or the ACT is prompting us to draw inferences and infer and decide, just like we are in the English class, and make up our own opinions. We can't do that. We have to go strictly by context. We have to go strictly by text. So after I read this, funny how memory works. And memory, funny how fantasy works and memory. I haven't thought about that evening in years. So this is the quote, and the question is asking you, what does it serve to do? So basically it's a function question. And here are my 4 answer choices. Cast doubt on the accuracy of Virginia's memories. We have absolutely no proof here that she is casting doubt, so A is wrong. Introduce the point of view of a new character. Well, it is introducing a point of view, but it's not of a new character. So this word, anew, basically makes this answer choice incorrect, a very typical trap. And then there are these 2 answer choices. Suggest a contrast between real and imagined events. Well, it's interesting that this answer choice could potentially work, because right here above, this main character, Virginia, she was talking about her cello, her musical instrument, as if it's an animal. Animal stood on its hind legs and presented its torso to hers, one paw curled like a ribbon behind her left ear. So she is actually giving you a metaphor right above. But here, the sentence is, funny how fantasy works. And memory. I haven't thought about that evening in years. D says, indicate a shift in time and perspective. If I only read A, B, and C, I would have definitely picked C, because this question is asking me to evaluate the passage as a whole. And right here, she is talking about fantasy. But then I considered answer choice D, indicate a shift in time and perspective. And I started to ask myself, what do I have proof for? And in these lines, I have proof for the fact that there is a definite shift of time. I haven't thought about that evening in years, which means that that evening was a long time ago. And now she continues, Virginia bent down and laid the cello case on its back as she knelt to unsnap the metal clasps. So now it's proceeding to tell us something that she's going to do with the cello, and the author is letting us know that this metaphor, when she was trying to learn how to play the cello, that was years ago, because I haven't thought about that evening in years. So do you see how I could have went for C and answered this question incorrectly if I didn't consider all of the answer choices? And once I did indicate a shift in time and perspective, I immediately knew that this was the right answer. And the answer choice C was just here to confuse me. Because funny how memory works, funny how fantasy works and memory, haven't thought about that evening in years. That doesn't suggest a contrast between real and imagined events. They really want me to think that, but since I've considered all 4, D is the right answer. And this brings me to the second point or second lesson that will help you get rid of the stupid mistakes that you could possibly be making on your SAT or your ACT. The best way to do this is pay attention to details. Details are everything. If you're not paying attention to details, you are going to be missing points on your SAT and your ACT. In high school, your tests are not very focused on details. You can be getting partial credit. Here, you're not getting partial credit. So when you're looking at 2 answer choices and you're thinking, well, they could kind of both work, immediately you need to start thinking, what am I missing? I like to think of standardized tests like SAT and the ACT for the most part as reading tests. They're not your math tests. They're not checking your conceptual understanding of chemical reactions. They are checking your ability to read. And high scorers, they separate themselves from lower scorers or average scorers by their ability to read the test with the precision of a lawyer who is reading the contract. If you have never seen a lawyer who's reading the contract, I suggest you do a quick YouTube search and you just imagine maybe, or just, think about method acting. Like Leonardo DiCaprio, when he is trying to embody his new role, he's actually, for a couple of months, he is becoming this new person. So for a couple of weeks, and I know there's May 4th, there's a test in a week, there's an SAT. And if you're taking the SAT, I suggest for this week, and especially during the time you're taking the test, I want you to embody and channel this like inner lawyer inside of you and read every little detail on your test. Hope that makes sense, and I hope you're not going to be making a lot of stupid errors, and you're going to be paying attention and considering all 4 answer choices, and you're going to be paying attention to every little detail. So important, and it's very important on math as well. Don't forget, every month we pick one lucky person who gets to get some free tutoring from me. And the way that works is that we enter all the comments in the pool and I announce the winner on my Instagram. The Instagram is seversonmethod.com, and then I will personally PM you on your YouTube channel, and I will give you the information how to register for your free tutoring. And if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. The more thumbs ups I have, the more I know that you guys are interested and you want me to produce more of these amazing free videos for you, and definitely share it with your friends because they need good advice that matters as well. And the more you share, the more of these I'm going to make in the future. Bye.